So for like a good B tier, inexpensive, kind of a cheaper end slide, these are pretty good. I like that they're all one-piece design. Typically when you get into this realm of slides, the top strap is like a textile, but with these being one-piece EVA all around, it makes them like a pretty good like basic slide. So if you're just looking for kind of a like a cheap basic slide for like pool or whatever usage, these are and you don't want to spend a lot of money, you know, like these are pretty good. These are kind of perfect. All right, we got another local find here, so there's no shipping box to open with this particular slide. I got these at Shoe Depot, same place that I had picked up the what did I just review? Those New Balances 200Ns. So these were also on sale for $25. I didn't know of these until I kind of stumbled upon them. These are the Adilette Flow. They only had 11s on sale. There was only like 3 of them actually. That's all they had. There was like a pair of 10s and 2 pairs of 11s. So I'm stuck with the 11s. Let's get them out. But they look pretty solid. They look like a pretty good balanced slide. I think they're cloud foam. But just the design, they look pretty good. Like a pretty standard, like kind of solid slide. So for $25, I figured they would be worth checking out. So they only had the one color. Well, there was really only 2 pairs of 11s there, and they were both the black and white. So we were stuck with some black slides, but they've got the nice white stripe, so they don't look too bad. But let me read the description real quick. Give me 1 second. I'm not sure if they have these on the American Adidas website. So we will read the description off of the European website. They've got a few different color options with it. I kind of like the white with the black stripes, but the other ones are more neutral, like a clay brown, putty. Yeah, so a little more neutral color selection with these slides. But so the description: the Adilette Flow slides, cushy slides with a cool look. Slip into total comfort wherever your plans take you. Whether you're out for a casual stroll or heading home from a swim, these Adidas slides cradle your feet with a one-piece molded design. Their sleek slip-on construction makes sliding in and out a breeze. Lightweight yet durable, these slides are bound to become your go-to for warm weather adventures. Regular fit, slip-on construction, synthetic upper, synthetic lining, one-piece molded construction, synthetic outsole, and they've got a 4.7 review. So the reviews on them are pretty decent. All right, and I'm not sure what they retail for. Looks like you can find them for 20 bucks. Here they're for 16, 25. So they seem to be on the more budget end. Yeah, 25. I think they had them on Amazon too. Yeah, 25 on Amazon. Marked down from 30, so relatively inexpensive. Check them out real quick. So I think I did see a cloud foam. Yep, they are cloud foam. So that's kind of a oh, it feels like they're too different. So it's actually a double-edged design. I think the cloud foam's on the outside, but this feels like a little more gummy on the inside. I don't know if they're both cloud foam and they just given a different texture. Yeah, that's all one piece. It even said one piece, I just got the texture threw me off because this feels different under your thumb than it does on the outside. But anyways, all right, so they are one piece design, which is very nice. We've got our bold 3 stripes. There's a very light kind of stippling texturing on the footbed and the Adidas logo there. So it's not a very aggressive stippling, so it should be pretty comfortable on foot. It does look like it has some size variation throughout the footbed. Looks like we got a little bit of an arch. Not a huge one, but there's a little bit of an arch. It seems to be very center placed too. If you notice, a lot of times the arch will come off of the inside of the slide, like the Yeezys do that. That's a very prominent one that does that. It's not a very center arch, it's a very side oriented arch. Like you see how it comes off the side there. It's very distinct. Where this one has a little bit of a side arch, but not much. It's a little bit of a side arch, but it's predominantly a center arch. But it does have a little bit of a dip for the ball of the foot. You can see that right in front of the arch there. Got a nice reflection going on there. So the ergos are very subtle, but they're there. But it's a very kind of a thinner midsole to it, so that's understandable that the ergos won't be too prominent. So that's going to limit the amount of compression too, just how thick they are. They're not beefy, so they seem to be kind of more of a mid-tier slide, but with a one-piece construction, which is nice. There's our mold injection point right there. We've got kind of a nice grid pattern tread on the outsole, which is very clean looking, very classic looking. I dig it. And then there's like the reverse stippling within the squares that we've got on the footbed there. So that's kind of cool, but they're pretty simple, pretty straightforward. They definitely look like an Adidas slide. So I think that's all I have to say about them in hand. The width looks pretty standard. They don't look too narrow, but they don't look super wide either. You can compare it to the, yeah, that makes them look very narrow compared to the Infinity slide. Could almost fit that in there. All right, let's throw them on foot and check them out. All right, I took off that tag, or the strap. Slide into them, so there's nice, well, there's ample room between the footbed and the top of the strap. They slide in pretty casually, as you can see. So they're kind of a little more on the casual end of slides. I wouldn't necessarily call these sporty. These seem to be, they would be like a good like pool slide or something, to where you don't have to walk great distances. I do feel that center arch support now. It's very akin to the, that's interesting. It's very akin to the Infinity slide. So if you've tried the Infinity slides, they have a very, very centered arch support. That's one thing I should have shown when I was showing the Yeezy, the side support, because I can probably hit it from this angle. These Infinities have a very centered arch support, just like these flows. But I'm kind of digging these though. These are kind of like like if you think of just kind of like the B tier slides, like this is like almost a perfect design in terms of what to expect from that level of a slide with the thinner midsole. And it is one piece, so we don't have the textile strap on the top, but so that's a bonus by having the one piece design. But in terms of like the footbed and stuff, it's kind of on that mid-tier level of thinner mid-soled slides. But this is just very classic looking. Like, it kind of makes me think of these, the massage slides. This one's seen better days, but it's just kind of like almost like a perfect classic Adidas slide. Maybe it's just with the stripes. There's the Adilette too, but these are different because of the texturing and stuff. But this is just like almost like an iconic design of just simplicity, like Adidas slide simplicity, which is kind of nice. I'm kind of digging these. I appreciate them for that like simple aesthetic. Just being black and white too. These are almost like an archetypal Adidas slide, you know, like the archetype of Adidas slide. So these are pretty good. The compression is sufficient. It's not squishy, but it's not hard, really. There's not a lot of compression happening, but there's a little bit. There's enough to kind of feel it, so they don't like hurt underfoot. You know, they don't feel hard, but it's just kind of a middle of the road compression. But I mean, you can't expect a whole lot with this, you know, like the B tier designs with the thinner midsole, where this even has a little bit of a little thicker of a midsole than like the comfort slides, for example. The Adidas comfort slides, those are a little bit thinner. We can show those too in comparison. They probably look relative. These are muddy. Hang on, let me put one on next to each other, because these are almost like these are very, very similar, except just for the materials and stuff. The flows are wider though. Yeah, I'd say, no, they're pretty relative in terms of like midsole thickness. But these aren't as squishy as these comfort slides though. We've got a little more compression with the comfort slides, but I'd say they're pretty relative in terms of midsole thickness. Those comforts are thinner though, more narrow. But yeah, that's kind of a good comparison, like an EVA comfort slide. So these are good though. I'm kind of digging these. I kind of like them. They're strong in their simple design, in their simplicity. It's kind of like a flawless design in a sense. I mean, they could be better, but once you start changing it, you've got something different. So like within their simplicity, they're very strong. Let's get some walking footage. I'll just go straight down to the action footage. So these are pretty solid. It's kind of a standard Adidas slide. They could have gone a little more, a little tighter with the strap, but if they do, then it might be too tight for some people. I know some people have really like girthy feet that would fill up that strap. No problem. I've got a little wiggle room there, but it's nice. It kind of it goes along with the casual vibe. Just the balance of these. So I do feel that center oriented arch support, which is it's decent. It's enough to fill that void, the void of the arch, but it's not overly aggressive to where it feels uncomfortable with it being there. It's just kind of a nice accent, nice little addition, better than it being just a flat footbed and having a void, having a cavity there between the footbed and my foot. So we can we'll do the one sock off thing, since that's now a thing. So they're a little tacky, but not too bad. They kind of stay in place a little bit better than wearing them with a sock. The texture on the footbed is pretty mild. I don't really feel it on my foot. It pretty much just feels smooth. Like there's a little bit, it's a little noticeable, but it's not overly aggressive at all. If anything, it's probably helping my foot like hold on. Just creating a little more of a grip. A little more of a, like a foot traction in a sense, but yeah, these are okay. These are good. These are nice. These are a nice, simple, basic slide design. Not a lot of frills about them. They're not big and chunky or like extremely comfortable, but they're I think they're very well rounded and strong in what they offer. Just kind of a good basic design, just a good basic slide. So that's kind of why I grabbed them. When I saw them in the store, I was like, those aren't too bad. Those are kind of a good basic slide design. And I hadn't come across this slide either until seeing them in the store in person. So they're not on the Adidas website. So I don't know how old of a design this is, but they probably do that intentionally. They'll only keep certain slides in their online inventory just to kind of direct sales towards like their newer stuff, you know. I'm guessing this is a relatively older slide. But yeah, they're good. They're good. Good kind of B-tier slide. All right. Let's get a sound bite going. So for like a good B-tier, inexpensive, kind of a cheaper end slide, these are pretty good. I like that they're all one-piece design. Typically when you get into this realm of slides, the top strap is like a textile, but with these being one-piece EVA all around, it makes them like a pretty good like basic slide. So if you're just looking for kind of a cheap basic slide for like pool or whatever usage, these are and you don't want to spend a lot of money, you know, like these are pretty good. These are kind of perfect. So I don't know how good of a sound bite that was. That was a little convoluted, but I should be able to steal, I think the first part of it was okay. So we'll use that for the sound bite. Okay, I think that's all I need to say about these. They're not too bad. They're not too bad. They're not super amazing, but they're kind of, you know, they're B tier. So for B tier slide, they're kind of on the top of the food chain there, on the top of the list. So I recommend them. If you're looking for like a $20 slide, these are pretty good. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.